Hey everyone, it's Peter from Full Spectrum Performance, and this Training Tip Tuesday, we're going to cover the plank and some of its variations. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to execute this movement properly and safely. So let's get started. Now to start, we're going to focus on the normal or first plank variation. And from here, you're really just going to want to lie down on your stomach face down with your forearms and your palms on the ground. Now, from here, your point of connection is going to be your elbow. And from here, you always want to think your arms, no matter what position you're doing, should always form a straight line from that point of connection up to the shoulder. Now, if you're doing your plank variation up top with using your hands at the bottom, it's the same thing. You just want to make sure that your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder all aligned. Now, this is going to eliminate a lot of that pressure, whether you lean too far forward in that front delt, or you're leaning too far back and putting a lot more pressure on that rotator cuff itself. Now, those of you that are more advanced, that is a variation itself, and we'll get into that later. But for those of you just starting off, again, always just make sure that that point of contact forms a straight line from the shoulder down. Now, the next step that we're going to focus on is going to be our scapular engagement. And this is going to ensure that you're activating the serratus anterior, which is going to put your spine in a curve that's going to optimize core activity and engagement. Now, one thing that we're going to do here is, again, we're going to start off on the ground, making sure that that elbow and shoulder are aligned. And from here, we're actually just going to focus on staying on our knees. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift ourselves up. And with the scapula, you want to make sure that you can depress all the way down. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to protract all the way up, meaning you're going to push as far off the ground as you can. And from here, naturally, we're going to transition into our next tip, where that's going to want to leave your head to curve right down. And this is exactly that form that you want. You're looking for a spinal curve up in the upper torso, and from here, everything else should kind of form a straight line down. Now, our last step is going to be really just to kick our feet up off the ground, and from here, squeeze those glutes. And this here is a normal plank. Now, one thing you always want to ensure with your normal plank is that you're not lifting that booty up super high, and you're not just letting those hips drop down. So to kind of throw everything together, what we're going to do is ensure that those elbows and shoulders are aligned. Now from here, we're going to push up with our scapula, tuck the chin slightly, kick out, squeeze those glutes, and ensure our hips are activated. And from here, you have a normal plank. Notice the booty's not rising up in the air. You're not dropping your hips and sagging in that lower back. And just to demonstrate again for those of you that are going to be doing the normal plank, so from up top, what you're going to want to do is the same movement as we've done before. You're just going to make sure that you are allowing those scapula to press, protract up, tuck the chin down, and really just kick the feet out. Glute activation. Now, the side plank has to be the top 5 exercises that causes people shoulder pain. And hopefully these next tips will help you correct some of that. So just like with our normal plank variation, we want to make sure that that point of contact, whether it be our hand or it be our elbow, goes from the shoulder straight down. So from here, and just like with the normal plank, you can see that that shoulder, elbow, and wrist are all in alignment. And from here, you're going to treat the next step just like you did with that first plank variation, where you're going to want to kind of depress the scapula, let that go down all the way, and then from here you're going to protract, and here you're actually going to want to try to lift your entire torso as high as you can. Again, obviously straight up, so we're not changing the angle of that arm and planting leg. Now from here, all you really need to do is just lift those hips up into the side plank. Now, everyone is shaped differently, so play around with the angle for your arm, but most of you are going to find the most comfortable position is going to be with that elbow straight down or that wrist straight down from the shoulder. And most importantly, when you get up to this upper top angle, just make sure you're locking those hips, keeping those glutes tight, nice and engaged. Now, really just some fundamental tips for everyone. If you are able to hold a plank for 60 seconds, you are fine. You need to start doing some different variations, because realistically, anything past 60 seconds, and in a lot of studies, anything past 30 seconds really isn't going to be doing anything for you in terms of increasing your endurance of those muscles, nor are you going to really be increasing the strength or power of those muscles. To summarize briefly before we move on to other variations of the plank, with the normal movement, you always want to guarantee that wrist, elbow, and shoulder are all forming one straight line. From here, you're going to make sure you protract those scapula, pushing away from the ground, rounding that back, and gently tucking the chin down to optimize that curve of the back and activate those serratus anterior muscles. The next step is going to be to squeeze those glutes and to ensure that that booty keeps those hips locked, and from there your body will form a nice horizontal line down from the shoulder to the feet. For those side plank variations, it's going to be the same as that normal plank. Just make sure that that wrist, elbow, and shoulder all form one straight line, and from there just make sure that you're lifting and pushing away from the ground so you're propping that upper body up so your shoulder isn't sitting in that socket so roughly, and from there squeeze the glutes, lift the hips up off the ground, and just make sure that those hips don't drop. Now, to get into some fun variations of the plank. Now, one of the best ways to enhance your plank variations is to incorporate different things that are going to throw off your balance. So for one example, you could try by lifting each leg up off the ground. Vice versa, you can do the arms. Now from here, we can also incorporate opposite side movement. Now, just as we talked about in terms of isolating and causing more imbalances to challenge that plank, one of the things that you can think about too is challenging yourself with different taps. So you can tap the opposite side of your shoulder, you can reach out and tap something out in front of you, or with your legs you can do the same thing where you can tap out. Probably my all-time favorite variation of the plank is going to be that knee to opposite elbow plank, where we're just going to rotate and drop those hips. Keeping up with some of the rotational planks, you can always go full-on warrior plank, where you rotate and kick an arm out and kick a leg out in front of you. Now from here, again, you just want to focus on the rotation aspect. Some other great ways to add different variations into your plank are by incorporating movement. You can almost do a hokey pokey style plank where you go up and back, or you go lateral side to side. Now, those are just a few variations that you can do at home to instantly challenge yourself and add an extra layer of intensity to your plank exercise. But let's not forget, there's so many different variations we haven't talked about. Now, there's equipment that you can use to do the exact same thing and again, amplify the intensity even further of your plank, such as a Bosu ball, balance pad, or wobble boards that'll give you even more of an instability challenge. Not to mention, you can use resistance ropes or resistance bands and put them either in between your limbs or hold on to them and do different types of movements in order to add more strength and power opportunity for your plank. Now, that's just the beginning, because really you can incorporate speed and agility equipment, you can add ladders, you can add hurdles, and now you have obstacles that you'll have to move through. And of course, you can also add weight. And that's the plank. You just did it. Now, for those of you that didn't feel confident with this movement, I hope by the end of watching this video, you feel like you can handle this and the progressions to come. And those of you that really dismissed the plank, I hope that this inspired you to give it another shot. It's been Peter from Full Spectrum Performance. Thanks for joining me this Training Tip Tuesday, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, a share, but don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content from myself and Full Spectrum Performance. Most importantly, please leave a comment. Your input and insight is greatly appreciated and helps us create better content for you. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out our social media pages below because we post awesome content daily. Thank you for watching and have a great morning, evening, or night.
Alright.